Good afternoon, welcome back to another video. How are we all doing? All good, I hope. So in today's video, we've got some more bad news for the e-bike and e-moto community. If you've been following any of this narrative, you'll know that a couple of months ago, the government proposed some plans to change some of the e-bike laws. Things like upping the motor output from 250 watt up to 500, and also changing the throttle laws to allow you to assist up to 15.5 miles an hour. Now, those laws were sadly rejected by the government, and in today's video, I'm going to go through the reasons why they were rejected and why I think those reasons are weak. I'll then explain an even bigger potential problem with the UK's new budget and how they're looking to tax electric vehicles even more. And then finally, I'm going to be discussing insurance. This seems to be one of the biggest stumbling blocks when looking to get one of these road registered in the UK at the moment. I'll be running through who you need to be contacting for your insurance and what you need to be doing to get the best rates. So let's not mess around, let's jump on the bike and jump straight into it. Okay, so let's jump straight into this then. So recently the government ran a consultation to change the definition of an EAPC. Two of the main characteristics they were looking at was changing the motor output from 250 watt and putting it up to 500 watts. Currently the law states that the throttle can only assist you up to around 4 miles an hour. They were looking to change this up to 15.5, which is the legal top speed that the bike can propel you up to, which in my eyes makes absolute sense. If you can pedal up to 15.5, then why can't you use the throttle? Now, after the consultation, the government decided not to go ahead with the proposed changes because they faced heavy opposition from the key stakeholders. There was also insufficient evidence that these key features wouldn't improve or change or make any benefit. There was concerns around the safety aspects. Now, I completely get the safety side of stuff, but the main focus was on the stakeholders not having sufficient evidence or a lack of evidence. To me, that just kind of reads, well, we can't really be bothered and we don't want all the hassle of changing all these laws, so we'll just leave it as it is. We'll just say there wasn't enough evidence and everything will just be fine. We'll leave it as it is. This problem will go away. Because quite clearly, having a slightly more powerful torquey motor for stuff like this, getting up hills, there's going to be an absolute massive benefit. And we can run into a ton of other benefits as well. That's probably something for a whole nother video. We could talk hours about that. But the good old government just have to bring in the word safety, public safety, and everything that, you know, can be put to the wayside now. It just seems very risk adverse rather than more sort of evidence led. And obviously to most e-bike riders, that's pretty disappointing. But the government have always been trying to push the fact that we need to road register our e-bikes, e-motos, anything that's sort of high powered, which, yeah, I fully understand. I've seen enough in my own community and stuff like that where, yeah, there are younger kids riding around on very, very high powered e-bikes, causing devastation. Obviously the crime rate in London with the phone snatching, I get why they want these things registered. But I have said a million times in my videos, if they really want to push that narrative of you have to have these things registered, insured, taxed, MOT'd, then they really need to invest into a kind of a system that's going to help people and aid people in how to do this. I have tried to do my best. I have made a video on the subject, but it seems the HMRC and the DVLA are just coming up with their own set of rules, and this is changing on a monthly basis. From the first bike that I ever registered to the latest one that I done about 2 weeks ago for someone, they're asking completely different questions now. They're trying to get a little bit more sneaky, and they will try and do anything not to help register one of these bikes. So the government definitely need to look into a better system to aid people in doing that. And the other thing the government have been really hot for the last, I don't know, 2 years is this green energy, net zero, carbon neutral. Let's, you know, get rid of these gas guzzling cars and let's do our bit for emissions and save the planet. And they've pushed companies in now to, you know, not being able to produce any sort of combustion engines from 2030 onwards. And they've helped out the public by saying, yep, buy an electric car and we're going to give you a, you know, a huge government grant towards your car, and we're not going to charge you any road tax, and there's all these massive benefits for going electric. So many people have fallen into this trap And actually, even myself nearly fell into this trap of going, do you know what? Yeah, that sounds great. Electric, I absolutely love electric vehicles. Why not change my family car to electric? Not only do I think there's so many more benefits than just being greener and helping with emissions and stuff like that, but obviously they were a lot cheaper to run. Obviously there was no tax on them. They're a lot faster than some combustion engines, and it's just something I really love. I just love the whole thing around, you know, e-powered stuff. And we've now had the new budget come out in the UK, where our lovely Chancellor has turned around and said, I know we've forced you all into buying electric vehicles, and we really want you all to keep buying them and keep going green, and yeah, you know, let's do our part and let's do what's right for the environment. But what we're now going to do is tax you on that. So there's absolutely no advantage now of having an EV. Electric vehicles are now getting charged road tax, and in the latest budget they are now going to start charging electric vehicle owners 3p a mile just to drive your own car, on top of your original road tax as well. So yet again, the government has absolutely scammed people in the UK into thinking you're doing the right thing and we're going to give you all these benefits, and now you've actually gone and done it, they're going to absolutely hammer you on tax. I cannot believe the government can continue to get away with stuff like this. They sat there at the elections and said, we're not going to raise any income tax, you know, we're not going to tax working people, you know, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. They've gone back on absolutely everything they have said, and on top of all of that, you're all now getting scammed if you've got an electric car, because they want to charge tax on that too. Now, where does that put us as e-bike or e-moto owners? So in the consultation, the government have said that the vans and e-motos such as the Surron Ultra B, Light B, Tenarias, Stark Vargs, things like that, they will be initially exempt. Now, going on what I've just said about the government and everything they've just gone back on that they said they wasn't going to do, the words initially exempt sounds very, very temporary to me. They're basically just leaving the door wide open. And the other part of the wording that I found quite funny is that they're going to consult on design and implementation, which basically means nothing is set in stone. So just because they're saying that they're initially exempt at the moment, they're just giving you some little key words there to let you know that it ain't going to be long, basically. Now, the last part of this video that I want to talk about is insurance, because I get this quite a lot on my social media, questions coming through from people, and I see it quite a lot on the forums on Facebook and stuff like that, and that is insurance. Now, I have kind of touched on this subject back when I first road registered my Light B, and I was quite shocked at how much the insurance was for essentially what is a 50cc moped. But the one thing, like I was saying earlier, with the government really need to sort of be helping people. If they're really going to go out, and the police are going to go out and tackle, you know, people riding these illegally, and they're seizing them off the streets, and, you know, they're having this massive crackdown on them, then I just feel that there needs to be something in place, rather than just going, right, we're just going to take this off you, we're going to crush it, we're going to give you a massive fine and potentially points on your license and all the rest of it. Where's the information? Where's the help to say, you know, if you're caught speeding in your car, it used to be a case of, right, you've been caught speeding, so here's a fine and here's points on your license. What they're now doing is you can go to a driver's awareness course where, okay, you still may have to pay a fine, but you're not getting points on your license, you're not getting penalised for anything. And what they'll actually do is sit you down in a classroom and teach you, or supposedly teach you, how to become a better driver, and basically show you the risks of obviously driving on your mobile phone or speeding or anything like that, which is absolutely great. So I kind of wish they would put something in place for the exact same thing, to go, look, we've caught you riding illegally, yeah, you shouldn't be doing it, you know you shouldn't be doing it, but what's the reasons for that? You know, because again, I get so many people asking me, how do I do it? It's so confusing, there's so much to it, there's so much different paperwork you need to fill out. You have to select the right form, you have to say the right things to the DVLA to get the whole bike and the application process correctly. It is not an easy process, and it's one of the comments I hate seeing online all the time. Is, you know, I see the local police force have just seized another, you know, Surron, and then the comments are like, oh, just get it registered. That's brilliant, that's great if it was that easy, and I've said this a million times, if it was that easy we would all be doing it. I just have to state for the video, because I get it every time I make one of these, I am riding a road legal Surron Ultra B. It has a full license, it has MOT, it has insurance, it has tax, it is fully road registered, fully road legal, before I start getting all the comments coming through about that. But even when you've managed to get through all of the hurdles to try and get your bike registered, you then have this whole issue around insurance. Now, I've owned a full car license for over 20 years now, a pretty decent amount of driving experience, I would say. So to jump on essentially what was a 50cc moped, my insurance was coming out at nearly £500. Now, I personally thought that was quite expensive, but I'm seeing comments come up at the moment, people are getting charged nearly £3,500, £3,500 grand to insure, like I said, what is essentially a moped. I'm like, that is unbelievable. And even then, you're quite lucky if you will even get a quote for insurance on one of these bikes, because it seems a lot of people, they just won't even touch. So there's a couple of things to break down here. Is one, the price of the insurance. Why is it so expensive? I initially thought one of the key things is going to be is the fact that because they're so desirable, they're really very easy to steal. That in my head would have made complete sense. You know, they're lightweight, they're often left outside in sheds and stuff like that, so they're high value and very, very easy to steal. When I actually went to switch the insurance from my Light B over to the Ultra B, I was getting some quotes coming through for fully comprehensive, and I was looking at about £1,300, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's just stupid money. So I asked the guy on the phone, I was like, why is that so expensive? Is it because they're, you know, really easy to steal, they're really desirable, stuff like that? He's like, no, but because they're classed as an enduro bike, generally people will take these off-roads and abuse them, wheelie them, crash them, jump them, you know, all these sorts of things that you would essentially do on an enduro bike. And what he was saying is the repair bills are so expensive for them. There's not many places, you know, authorised dealers or anyone that will really even touch them for starters. So it's supply and demand. So when you do find someone that you can take the bike to that is, you know, approved by that insurer, they're just going to start charging stupid money. So, and that was kind of really the biggest reason he gave me, which I was quite shocked at. He did also say, obviously a lot of people, youngsters obviously want to ride them, so with no real riding experience, that pushes the price up quite a lot. It also then depends on the area that you live in. Obviously some of the other main factors, like you would when you're insuring a car, it's crime rate in the area, stuff like that. Where the bike's being kept overnight, is it kept outside, is it in a shed, is it in a locked garage, stuff like that. This is all going to make a huge difference to when it comes to getting the insurance. The other massive thing that pushes the price up is the amount of people that are actually offering insurance for these bikes. As it stands in the UK at the moment, as far as I am aware, there is only 2 companies offering insurance on bikes like the Surron and Solaria. Now the one that I am going to mention is the company that I'm insured with, and that is Bikesure. This isn't sponsored, this isn't affiliated in any way. I just kind of want to try and help people out, because I spent so long going through, you know, the internet, phoning all these different companies that promote and advertise the fact that they offer Surron insurance, and they absolutely don't, or they used to but they've stopped doing it and just haven't updated their marketing. So if you are looking to insure one of these bikes or anything like it, then definitely go and try Bikesure. Hopefully that helps some people out, because like I said, they were pretty much the only company that even offered me a quote, let alone actually fully insuring me. So obviously the other things are very obvious on when you're trying to get insurance. You know, Make sure you're using measures to lock your bike up at night. So if it is in, you know, a locked garage is key. Once it's in that locked garage, make sure it's you know, shackle locked to a solid point within the garage, you know, bolted to the floor, stuff like that. Any sort of alarm, immobilizer, tracker, that's all going to massively help, you know, because, you know, these bikes are incredible, and it is a shame to see so many of these bikes being confiscated by the police and stuff like that. So I know insurance is expensive, but it's absolutely worth every single penny, knowing that you can legally ride around on your bike, and it doesn't matter if you know, police stop you or anything like that. They're not going to seize your pride and joy, something, you know, you've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on. For the sake of 500 quid, you're fully covered. Definitely well worth it. Anyway guys, I'm going to finish the video there. Let me know in the comments what you think about this new tax. Do you think it's going to come into play for e-bikes and e-motos? Also, drop in the comments any sort of experience that you've had with insurance companies, how much you're getting charged for insurance. But thank you ever so much for watching this video to the end. If you've enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.